Hey everyone, what's up? It's Audra and welcome back to this series on my YouTube channel called Chat with Audra. Today we have episode 3 and I'm very excited about this one. Also, I've decided basically in the past 5 minutes, every time I do a YouTube video, I feel like I have to dress up and look nice, but I'm just I'm taking a page out of the girl, Alex Cooper, the girl who does Call Her Daddy. I don't know if any of you watch that. She wears sweatpants and a sweatshirt in every single video, and I'm just I want that to be me. And so that's what I'm doing today, because I'm just I'm not about to dress up to do a Chat with Audra episode. This is supposed to be a normal, casual conversation. Anyways, besides the point, today's episode 3 of Chat with Audra, so let's get into it. I have a really fun topic that I'm super excited to talk about today, of course, that you guys picked, and if you have any other suggestions of things you want me to talk about on this little series on my YouTube channel, please leave them in the comments below, and I can't wait to look at all of them. But let's get into episode 3. Today, I'm going to be talking about albums that shaped me as a musician, as a person, as a performer, all of the above. So I have a list of the 3 big albums and, how they shaped me as a person. So we're just going to dive right into it. Side note, before we dive right into it, I got a mattress topper for my bed since the last time I filmed this, and I feel like I'm just sinking in to this bed every time I move, but it's okay. Anyways, let's continue. Diving into album number 1, it is White Noise by Paris. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying if you guys have never listened to any of these albums, please take a listen to them. Seriously, these albums mean so much to me, as you will find out, and I think they're just great albums overall, so please take a listen. Anyways, White Noise. This Paris record was kind of my introduction into heavier music. This came out in 2014, which was 3 years after I joined First to 11. When I really, I would listen to music in the car with them, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did this one. Now, this record holds a special place in my heart. My introduction to heavy music. It was my introduction minus Paramore to heavy music with a female vocalist. Because I think even Paris was heavier than Paramore at this point, and they just did something so unique and different, and it really just caught everybody's attention. And I was like, wow, that's so cool that this female vocalist who's on Warped Tour, hanging out with all the people that I love to watch play, is doing this. And I just think it was so cool. I loved how she would mix in these very pretty vocals with this very heavy instrumental, which is what we do in a lot of our songs now. And that inspiration came from this album, and it's inspired a lot of our sound. It also inspired, how I wanted to look on stage. I was like, she looks so cool. I wanted to be Lynn Gunn. I loved her. I still do. But I was just she just holds herself so well on stage. She's such a great performer. She's such a great singer. She's such a great songwriter. And it's just all the things that I wanted to be when I was 13 years old. I was just so excited to see a new female vocalist doing that, because Paramore had been around for a while. I listened to Paramore a lot, obviously was inspired a lot by Hayley Williams, but I wouldn't say that a specific album of theirs shaped me in comparison to this album. This was the holy grail of music for me, and kind of still is to this day, of what I think almost the perfect record is just this album. It inspired so much of my style, our sound, my vocal style, just so many things. We used to cover the song Fire. We did a cover on a YouTube channel, actually, but we used to play it live before we ever did a cover of it. In 2014 when it came out, we used to play that live. And I just love this album. I have so much love in me for this album, because without it, I think I would have looked at music a completely different way than I do now. But it just kind of gave me the confidence to be you can be in a rock band and be cool and be a girl and still do cool things. You don't have to be a pop star. But moving into pop stars, I had a very eclectic music taste. I still do. But the next album on the list that I would say has shaped me as a person is 1989 by Taylor Swift. Of course, you knew I was going to put a Taylor Swift album on there. And honestly, I had quite a hard time deciding which one I wanted to do, because obviously there were like, songs from her early country albums that I listened to when I was really young. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I listened to the entire album and that really shaped my music taste. Like, no, I listened to like Mean and like You Belong With Me, and I used to sing it at karaoke. But like, that album didn't necessarily have a huge impact on my life. I'd say maybe Taylor Swift as a person did when I was younger, but I think that this is probably the album that had the most impact on me out of everything that she's put out. So this also came out in 2014, which is so weird. Like, White Noise and this came out at the same exact time, if I'm not mistaken. Which is very weird, because that means I was listening back and forth between Paris and Taylor Swift, which is just a weird combination anyways. But 1989, I guess it's more of the album and what went along with it than the album itself. But I got to go to the 1989 tour. And this was like the first big tour that I went to for like a big artist, big stadium tour, And I was pretty excited. I didn't know what to expect. I sat in the very top row at Heinz Stadium, like literally the very top. You could hold on to like the fence behind you to stand on your seat. And I don't think I would do that now. It's so scary. It was windy. Anyways, but this was the first big tour I went to. It was a big deal. I got to see this pop star performer put on what was probably one of the biggest tours at the time, with the biggest stage production and everything around her. And it was very inspiring to little me. And I think I never really was like, I want to do that one day. But I was just like, it's crazy that this girl who started just singing songs because she loved to sing songs is now the biggest pop star in the world, is creating new things that we didn't even know existed in terms of production and stage show for a tour. Don't even get me started on the Eras tour. This person is showing that there's no limit on music and there's no limit to what you can do with it. And I think that was the thing that was like the craziest to me, was I was just like, wow, there is no limit to what I can do in this job, because there are new things that are happening every single day. And it just made me want to perform. It did. It really made me want to perform. And maybe not in a way with backup singers and backup dancers and big stage sets and props and whatever. But it made me want to be on stage in front of an audience to change the lives of the people who were watching me. And obviously, it's at a much smaller scale. But I think about that every time I go up on stage. I think about how 13, 14-year-old me felt when I got to see Taylor Swift live for the first time. And that's why I get like I'm getting like emotional. That's why I get like so emotional when there's a little girl at one of our shows. There's a little girl at one of our shows. And I'm just like, I could be that person for that little girl. And don't cry. It just makes me so happy that this is like what I get to do. Anyways, I need to move on from this topic because I'm getting sad. But compose yourself. I just love that I have the ability to give that feeling to somebody else. And I think that was such a big inspiration for me when I got to see Taylor Swift for the first time. And even still, when I got to see the Eras tour. And people can hate on Taylor Swift and say whatever they want. I don't know how you can hate on somebody who's inspiring so many young kids and changing the music industry every single day. Somebody has to do it. And they're gonna get hate for it no matter who they are, but somebody has to be the pioneer of whatever is going on. And usually they're not liked. But besides the point. Moving on, because I can't talk about this anymore, to album number 3. The last one on my list is Sway by Tuve Sturke, who I'm pretty sure I'm saying that name right. I've looked it up a few times. Unsure, though. I'm pretty sure she's from, like, Sweden or Switzerland or something. Close enough. Anyways, yes, the last album is Sway. I heard this one time when I was in a writing session with a guy named Bobby Darling, and he showed me this album, and I was just like, wow, this is, like, absolutely nuts. This is a perfect pop written album. And I think it really inspired the way I write today. So I'll give you an example. If you guys listen to the album Sway, even if you just listen to the song Sway, there was this really cool thing I noticed in every single one of her songs where both the verses were different. No verse on the album was the same. They're all different, even if it just changes a little bit, but each verse is different. And I was like, that's so interesting. I know people like change up vocal lines and whatever a little bit, but that is just such a cool thing to do. I'm trying to think of the verses. So wanna get you alone. But an enemy, I got the energy on you on your phone. But the truth is, I'm not really looking for a new friend. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was the first verse. And then the second verse is, got other plans I can make if you go hesitate, gotta let me know. Like, so cool. And a lot of her songs do that. Almost, I think every single song on that album just has 2 different verses for each song. And I'm like, that's so cool. Now, for example, take any song off of the newest Concrete Castles record, Brand New Me. Dollhouse, maybe? So fake when you walk in the room. I don't wanna play with you. You show me what you're made of. Plastic feelings, rubber and glue is the first verse. Then it comes out of the chorus and goes, you just give me the same old poor excuse. You lit a house on fire, so it burned with you. Stuck in a deja vu. 2 completely different verses. I think there's some other songs that do that. I bet if I like scrolled through our album, I probably could like name them off. Let's see. Immortal might do it too. We exceeded expectation. That's a case of tunnel vision. So that's the first verse. Yeah, and then it goes, I hate the lies. You always try to find a way to patronize, but I know that you can't hide. Every single time you try to cross the line. Kill the lights, I think also to wipe the makeup on my eye. Nothing matters, the world's burning and it's too bright outside. And then it goes, I'm face down, so no one texts me now. Trouble only finds me if I step outside my house. So maybe all of our songs do it. I don't know. But that was really like a big inspiration for me and took a songwriting in a whole new direction for me that I didn't even know existed. And I loved her vocal lines were so interesting to me. She has a lot of ascending and descending vocal lines, which honestly, I feel like when I write songs, I don't really think much about that, but I love how much her vocals just move throughout the whole song. So many words, so quick, so just, yeah, up and down all the time. And then her choruses are just so like, the chorus of Sway is, sway with me, don't speak. Stay with me, no sleep. And that's it. Like, so simple. These very simple topics that she just made sound so cool. Anyways, I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. I think this album is the perfectly written album. Like, the most perfect album of all time. I think every song is perfect. I think it is a lyrical masterpiece. I think it is a vocal line masterpiece. Everything about it is just ridiculous. It's so good. It inspired so much of my songwriting today, and if I'd never heard that, I don't know what our second album would sound like, to be honest. All right, everybody, that is it for episode 3 of Chat with Audra. I hope you enjoyed hearing about all the albums that shaped me as an artist. And let me know what albums kind of do the same thing for you in the comments. Maybe not from an artist standpoint, but just as a person. What albums have changed you? Because I do have a personal connection to all of these, and it takes me back to that point in my life, which is just such a cool feeling, and it's such a cool thing that music can do. So thank you so much for suggesting this topic, and like I said, if there's anything else you want to hear me talk about, leave it in the comments of this video, and I go through and read them and take suggestions on what to do for next month's episode of Chat with Audra. So thanks so much for watching Chat with Audra episode 3. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video and comment, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss an upload every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye! See you next week!